Hi everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. It feels like forever since I sat down and did a Herbcrafter's deep dive tarot study session with you. And so I'm glad that tonight is the night. We get to continue our journey into the Herbcrafter's tarot. So let's get right to it. So tonight we are looking at the Devil, the Tower, and the Star. And the Devil in the Herbcrafters is represented in the blackberry, the tower, we have the mushroom, and then cottonwood as the star. And of course we have, the Rider-Waite-Smith depictions, the Devil, the tower, and we have the star. Okay. All right, let's get on with it. So, I have the study questions up here, and like I do before, I pick and choose which questions I'm going to go into and really explore, just based on what my intuition is calling me to delve into. Definitely, you use the questions, the ones that you would feel like, a lot of them are similar, so you just pick which one really works for you. Or if you want to answer all of them to varying degrees, you can. But the bottom line is really asking ourselves some questions to help us better understand what the Herbcrafters is saying. So the blackberry, here we go, stick these over here. The blackberry. Now, again, I am not an herbalist. I just love this deck The artwork is by Joanna Powell-Colbert, and the deck is written by Letitia Guthrie. And I have Joanna Powell-Colbert's The Gaian Tarot, and I'm in love with it. I got it after I got the Herbcrafters Tarot, but it has now become just a soul deck for me. So I really am happy to be trying to just delve deeper into the Herbcrafters because of all of this. And it's been easier since I have brought the Gaian Tarot into my collection, because it works as a wonderful translator and interpreter for my other decks that I get into my collection or that I have in my collection. The Gaian, it is such a great translator, and I love that about it. So, and that's not the only purpose I use it for. It's a multi-purpose tarot deck for me. In terms of the blackberry, and we look at the question, do I know the herbs featured in this card? And if so, does it speak to the Rider-Waite-Smith card meanings that I've grown to know? Why or why not? How do I feel about it? And I love blackberries. I have fond memories of it. Like I mentioned before, I'm not an herbalist, so I don't know anything really about their herbal properties, nor did I have time tonight to even hop on Google really to look it up. But what I can tell you is that I have an intimate relationship with blackberries. I grew up where they grew abundantly in my neighborhood, and I lived in Oakland, California, which is a city. It was like an urban area. And but in this urban area, there were little pockets of nature where trees are growing, people are growing fruit trees. That's what I love about it. I mean, it's like Oakland. I mean, the name in and of itself speaks to the trees that are in the area, that are native and in the area. So when you look at the lush areas of Northern California, you will see that it has lots of fruit trees and all sorts of things, and especially blackberries. Oh my goodness. We lost our minds as kids with blackberries. We would go to our neighbor's house and, go in their backyard, sneak back, and take and steal all of the blackberries, all the sweet dark ones, and stain our hands, stain our shirts, stain our jeans, and it didn't even matter how we cut ourselves, how we pricked ourselves with the thorns, because it's a very thorny kind of bush. It didn't even matter. It also didn't matter that rats sometimes lived at the bottom of like where the trees kind of pooled at the bottom. We didn't care about that either. All we wanted was those sweet berries. And we would sometimes collect all the berries and take them to my friend Michelle's mom's house, our apartment. And her mom would make this amazing blackberry jam or syrup with it. And it would just be just out of this world. I mean, I have a fond memory of blackberries. But also, yeah, I remember getting cussed out by one of our neighbors because they were like, you're a bad ass little kid, you know, like, why are you back here taking our blackberries, especially the sweet ones, leaving us nothing but the little, you know, little green ones that are not ripe. And so for me, as a throwback to, and this whole deck to me feels so throwback energy. It reminds me of my time when I was a little girl being sent to Mississippi in the summer to spend time with my grandmother. It's just such a draw, like a throwback, and it draws on my memories of those times when I was a kid. It's such a deck that I can get nostalgic with it. I love the Herbcrafters for that. Yes, some people can use this deck for its herbal, medicinal purposes, and I think that's amazing. And I will hopefully one day get there. Sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied because I'm getting all passionate. One day I'll get there, but for now, all I got is my nostalgic memories of what really helps me to relate to the cards. So that's what helps me relate. And, you can do as you need to when you're trying to connect with the deck. There's no perfect way of being able to get intimate with our decks. So, I didn't mean to shuffle these. I've been trying to keep these, keep my centennial sorted as we go through. I'm so used to picking up a deck and shuffling. I wanted to keep them in order as we move through this tarot, but I love the blackberry as a depiction for me personally, but it may not work for everyone if you don't have that personal experience like I do. Even this weekend, I bought my daughter some blackberries and I tasted one, and it didn't taste like I remember the sweet fat ones that we would be able to pluck off our neighbors' bushes. It just was, I guess it's just a sign of the times right now that the fruit isn't that great. I don't know. It just wasn't sweet, but not like what I remember. When I was being a little naughty girl growing up in Oakland and stealing berries. And interestingly enough, what I find, and it's also seen in here, is the shading of the darkness of the tower here and here. I picked that up on that as well. I think the artist may have deliberately done that. And we see it here, the stark darkness. And so I just love like how, you think of what the blackberry could be. It could be a thorny situation. Some people will, despite the thorns, will continue to pluck. Despite the staining, despite, all that it may entail, the too much sugar, it just may be too much. It doesn't even matter. You lose all sight of that with the devil. So let's take a look at the Herbcrafters guidebook, because it's super helpful in our journey here. So let's go there. Blackberry, Rubus armeniacus, I don't know. It's a sweet berries, sharp brambles, beware. Let awareness awaken the power of choice. Break free of the desires that keep you trapped. Oh, I love that. Okay, so it says, an old cast iron pan lies on top of a rust-colored napkin. Inside the pan is a blackberry pie with a carefully crafted lattice top. Yum. Okay, a blackberry pie. That's also a devil. Let me tell you. Oh, my husband bought me before, I guess, was it before the pandemic? Or was it right during? I don't know. Anyways, I overindulged on a blackberry pie like right before and just was like hurt for a day or so. So again, it is the devil. But it's so good. It's so good. With that little lattice. Oh my goodness, I'm getting all hungry for it. Okay, so it says, blackberry brambles brimming with fruit and flowers surround the pie. A blue bowl is full of lush berries. Cinnamon spills onto the table. Measuring cups and spoons sit nearby. Knowing what keeps you bound can set you free. You may be feeling trapped by something you love. It feels good, yet you are depleted. Blackberries are delicious, but the vines strangle everything in their path. That's true. Do not become ensnared by the sweet fruit of pleasure while ignoring your true needs. In Sleeping Beauty, Bramble creeps over the land, protecting the people while they slumber. Blackberry can be a safe but destructive hedge. Consider what desires you are indulging. Are they keeping you from seeing the light? Be your own prince and cut them away. Wake up and choose transformation. Ooh. Well, I have to say, with my intimate relationship with blackberries in that sense, yeah. For me personally, it does ring true. Crafting with the devil. Go foraging for wild blackberries. Delight in their sweet, delicious taste. Mind the thorns. Mind the thorns, when you're being on, doing your devilish things. Sometimes it's nice to just be devilish and have some good times. In my year spread, I think one of my summer months, there's the devil card. And it wasn't, I think the accompany cards around it was like, oh girl, you need to have some fun. Sometimes it's just nice to be a little devilish. I was a little devilish in my kid years, my teen years, my young adult years. I was that one that was a little daredevilish and would push the envelope. I'm not afraid to admit it. We'll talk about that more with the Tower card. I could go on and on about how I did too much in the devil world and how this for me really, really resonates. It reminds me of my time growing up in the Bay Area. That was my coming of age time. So, oh my gosh. It says, so I can attest to foraging for blackberries. I want to do that now. I think that would help me really feel grounded. I think that's a wonderful grounding activity. Place a crown of blackberry vines on your altar to loosen yourself from the pursuit of adoration. And the third crafting with the devil moment is make a blackberry sugar scrub. Invite release as you cleanse your body. I don't know about that because I personally remember how much it stained and it bothered the hell out of me. So I think you would just get the seeds or somehow strain for the seeds. Maybe, do something with the juice, but keep the seeds and use that in the scrub. But I just can't imagine a mess and staining it would do to your tub. But all of that just, for me, really rings true. And I just really love that. But like I said, it could be something that not everyone can relate to. But I can, 100%. And I don't even need to have, another card to draw out what that means for me. But what I sometimes suggest people do, as we've seen in my other videos, is you take another card or deck that you're really comfortable using, and you say, hey, can you help me relate a little bit more to this devil blackberry? I just need, and you can get your cards and have it go there. I usually like to just work with one card, though, because I just like it to kind of help me draw, like Elder of Water. Like, the older me, the 40-year-old me looking back at all my devilish times, it's just like, oh my goodness, I needed those moments. Even when they sometimes made me sick and made me like almost near death. But I needed it. So anyways, we're going to move on to our next card, the Tower. The lovely Tower. depicted as the mushroom in the Herbcrafters. Here is our centennial. Okay. Now, this time I'm going to throw out a card from the Gaian. But I am feeling this one too. And I'm going to tell you guys why in a moment and why I said, oh my goodness, like, you have to understand. And I think I've mentioned this before. I am an Aquarius sun sign. And I'm an Aries rising and a Sagittarius moon. I'm very rebellious. My poor parents. I put everybody, including my exes, including my current, like everybody through the paces with my adventures. That's just who I am. My life is a constant tower moment. So I can look at this and get a little tickle, whereas other people get a little frightened by the tower, and naturally and understandably so. You have to understand, I laugh from delirium sometimes, as we see with the mushroom. I also will be very frank and honest and tell you that there was once upon a time in my 20s that I did, want to experience the psychedelic effects of the mushroom and to see what it would be like. And so I, indulged in the tea. There was some psychedelic moments, but I was kind of let down. Sorry guys for the loud bang. I was like, but there were some things that kind of turned onto its head in my life after this little moment that felt like not really a big moment. But then there was bigger things that happened after I drank the little mushroom tea. And I'm not really a fan of mushrooms as a food, even shiitake ones. I'm just not really, they kind of feel otherworldly to me. And the way they are like a fungus and they take over everything and they could take over a tree and like kill it. Not a fan. Bothers me. And that's what bothers people about the tower card, right? Like, you just come on in and just knock us on down. But when you think about it, think about this. It's kind of a build-up here with the devil. And now you're going into the tower. It's like, it's almost inevitable. You can't continue on the cycle of the devil pattern. So what happens naturally next is a tower moment. And so, what happens next is this tree that's grown too big for the forest is now being overtaken and taken down and now going to become part of the earth. But now if a stronger tree, a healthier tree, will grow in its place. So, I don't know. Like, I have all kinds of mixed feelings about the mushroom as the tower, but all good. It's not like mixed feelings because I feel like it was a poor depiction or poor choice as it's spelling out for the tower card. No, I think for me it's just kind of feeling all sorts of ways about what we know and like what we think about when a fungus starts to take over. It's a natural process, right? However, it's still destructive. There are many things in our life that are set up that are like a natural process or something that is inevitable. But over time, it is something that is necessary. It is something that needs to happen in order for us to move forward and continue on. We are resilient beings too. We are maybe in the forest and or maybe this tree is in our yard and it's like, oh damn, like this damn fungus is taken over. But in the end, it's not all bad, even though it can look that way, even though it can seem that way. If you're looking at it from the physicalness of a mushroom taking over. So I want to let's ask the Gaian. All right, can you give us a card to help us draw out the meaning for how we can better work with this tower? We have the Guardian of Water and the Eight of Earth. Yeah, it's very emotive and very, certainly of the earth, of having to deal with sometimes the physicality and the physical nature of things tumbling in our lives. An illness can come in and feel very external to our being, but it's very natural in its, and then it can sometimes cause us to succumb, but oftentimes we overcome it, right? We overcome it and we become much more emotionally connected, much more nurturing, compassionate, empathetic to other people's experience as a result of us going through such an experience. That I see with the guardian of water, and then the aid of earth is just like, really having to put forth the work to say, okay, yeah, now things have turned over. It's like taking a shoebox, I always say, and taking, like, how when you take little dolls and little doodads and little decorations, and you make it like a cute little doll house out of a shoebox, and then someone comes over and takes it and turns it upside down. Now you've got to exert the effort and the mastery to say, okay, I've been doing life for a while from the Fool card up to this point. I have what it takes to continue forward, to do the work, to turn this around and to move on to the star moment, the star card. I can do this. It is not the tower is not just, for the sake of just destruction. It's for the sake of destruction, so we can be able to now start over and work from a stronger foundation and a clean slate, and not have to carry forth false foundations and false narratives and just things that aren't solid, that ain't gonna carry forth anymore. So I love that. I love that. So it works for me. It's a reveal moment, letting you guys know about my wild past. Hey, I'm recording. I'll be out in a minute. So, anyways, we have finally the star, the cottonwood. Now, I did have to do a quick Google search to kind of remind me what exactly is this. This is a tree from what I can look at and what I could tell. And it's like the poplar tree. I think where's the little guidebook? Oh, right here. Yeah, populous species. Okay. So I'm going to read this here. It says, your broken pieces contain the stars of hope. Open your heart to grace. Be generous with your blessings. And I'm going to answer some of the questions. I'm going to go back in a moment to answer some of the questions for our tarot study group. But I love the story between the devil, the tower, and the star. The moment of moving from, you're going through some negative thought patterns or negative behaviors or habits or addictions, and it just really cannot go on like this anymore. Maybe you've been tardy for work for so long, doing, mistreating your job for so long that finally you get fired. You have your tower moment, and then you feel down, you feel off, you don't know how you're going to pick up, but you pick up and you move forward anyway, and you move into hope and an opportunity that maybe to get a job that's more suited for you, that you are inspired to get up and be on time for, and turn it around, and be mature at the next opportunity. So that's why I wanted to kind of see how it flows, and then we move into with the moon card, and I'm looking forward to going into those cards next. That's our next video. But so we'll answer the questions in a moment. But we have a bowl of smooth stones right here. Floats in the center of 8 deep green serrated cottonwood leaves arranged in a star pattern. Knobby young twigs full of resinous buds reach out like an old witch's hand holding the mandala. 7 cottonwood star coins cut from the broken branches are arranged in the corners of the offering. The deep blue water reflects the stars in the night sky. Hope can be found in the darkest moments. Have faith and believe in possibility. As the appearance of a cottonwood tree means water is near, so is inspiration close. You may not see it right away. Stay optimistic. Close your eyes and listen for the sound of the rushing river. Cottonwood trunks are marked by scars from harsh weather, yet cottonwood leaves shimmer like golden lights against a stark blue sky. Oh, it sounds pretty. I could literally see that in my mind. Your wounds may run deep, but wholeness still shines from within. When you encounter grace, be generous with your blessings, the way cottonwood trees are generous with their seeds. Oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? And then crafting with the star. Break cottonwood twigs to discover the stars. Use them in amulets, magic, and altar pieces to give you hope when you most need it. Number 2, take a contemplative walk in nature and listen for the flutter of the leaves, which is something I love to do. And number 3, make cottonwood bud oil for joint and muscle aches. Rub it over your heart to ease emotional pain as well, which I do think I'm going to plan to try, actually. So I did kind of Google that, and they talked about the shimmering leaves, and I saw the picture, and I was like, oh yeah, I think I've seen that before, and it really was like, oh, it's so comforting when you see those trees too. It's like, oh, it's something familiar, and something with the star card is so, after going through such a tumultuous time with the tower of either external factors or sometimes internal factors going on to really turn us upside down and turn our world into a chaotic mess, but then to make it through and move to the star moment, it's just a really restorative time. And I appreciate the care that the author used in describing that, and then the crafting offerings that they gave for the star. And let's look at, we haven't looked at yet, this is the little white book from the Centennial Waidsmith. So the star says loss, theft, privation, abandonment, although another reading suggests hope, bright prospect in the future, which is interesting, right? It's kind of a downer. Not what I know of with the star. It's funny, it's like a downer, really. But the Herbcrafters really embodies to me what the star essence is all about. And, okay, I don't know too much about, like I said, the populous tree, although there was, I guess, multiple uses that it's used for. And it's used for, like, hardwood, and, to make wind, what do you call it? The woodwinds for instruments, right? And it's just, you can use it for multiple purposes, and it's just a really versatile, I guess, species of plant or tree. Spirit, can you give us additional guidance on how we can use the Gaian to draw a little bit more of how we can work with the star, this cottonwood example that's found in the Herbcrafters. Upside down. Okay, so we have the Lovers, and we have the Child of Air. And so I get a sense of, just that beautiful connected energy, one with spirit, one with ourself, and one with those who support us and who we support another. And it's just this beautiful, loving energy that the star card is emanating here in this Herbcrafters version. And then just also realizing that there's new beginnings and clarity of thought, and how we approach adversity, and how we are able to move forward from adversity, how we're able to turn, what was worry and strife and angst and all of that ick into, moving from that to hope and inspiration, and to finally attainment. And it's just a beautiful, transformative time with the star. We see these little butterflies here around the Gaian, around this little girl, And we know that there is an opportunity to be able to transform into moving from victimhood into victor, someone who is victorious, someone who has a wish fulfilled with love, you know? Oh my goodness. Love that. Love star. So let's kind of go through our questions, see if there's anything we want to add to it. But I think that's going to wrap this up nicely. So we answered number 1 for this. So number 1 here was, do you know the herbs featured in, I'll just say for all 3 of these cards, and do they represent the Rider-Waite-Smith? Because that's the system I'm accustomed to using. I know many of you are as well. Maybe you have another system you call to, but I would say yes, I knew all of them. I only have vaguely heard of this one, vaguely, so I didn't really know it. But these 2 I am familiar enough, especially the blackberry. So the blackberry really resonated with me for the devil. The mushroom also. I love what the guidebook had to say in the Herbcrafter's guidebook about the star, about this particular star. And I love what the guide helps to say about how I can best understand and work with this star, with the Herbcrafters. Because I don't really always know all of the herbs depicted. Like I know like a blackberry, you know, but that's okay. I can get to know it, and I can use my other tarot decks or my other oracle decks to help me build even more of a stronger rapport and language between me and the Herbcrafters, right? So I love what I'm seeing here in the majors so far with this deck. With I keep calling it out, the Herbcrafters. I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what we get up with the next batch with the moon, starting with the moon and then the sun. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to split those 2 into the moon and the sun, and then because we have the moon, the sun, judgment, and then the world, and so that's 4. We normally feature 3, so I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. We'll see. All right, guys, I'm going to thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the Herbcrafters Tarot. How have you been getting along with it? There's other questions here that we talked about. We didn't really go so much into the symbology or into, you know, I think we talked about the assigned meanings for me personally, but we can talk about them Facebook group if you want to carry on the discussion there about what else we see here. Like I mentioned before, I see the coloring here, the lattice, that, you know, the smooth stones, that speaks to just kind of, you know, a calming, not such a jagged situation as we see here, lots of jagged edges in the original tower. So all of that, I don't want to keep, you know, going on and on because I could. But let's talk a little bit more about it. And I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you all so much. Much love, so many blessings. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.